Hello everyone, so in today's video I'm going to show you some work I'm going to do, internal work on this property that we put a little extension on. I did a video fitting some steels and some joists, which if you've watched, thank you. I didn't do a video on the roof, but I did do a little video on how I work out the difference in length on the rafters when the plates are different heights. So I often get comments on my channel when I'm showing me working on lovely new straight square buildings that everyone else has come in and is on top of their game and it's all super perfect, and I often get comments saying, oh, we'd like to see you working on some dodgy old building that's been sort of bodged up for 100 years on end. Well, today's the day I'm going to show you a little bit of this. We're going to go inside. This little lean-to bit here it's got a kitchen going in, and it's a bit of a mess. I've got to make a wall to sort of straighten it all up, and this is single skin wall here, so we're going to make an internal wall out of stud work. We've got to catch a purlin, so I'll take you inside and you can have a look. So here we go. This is the floor that we've already done, the steel that I already did a video on. This back wall's not been taken out yet. Got myself some timber, so into the kitchen area. It's a bit of a devastation, obviously, as you can imagine. The customer wants a vaulted ceiling here, so this is sort of where the fun starts, really. So we've got this external wall, excuse my shadow. We've got this external wall here. As you can see, it's a bit of a horror story, and this has just probably been years and years of add-ons and people coming in and not really doing as thorough a job as they could have done. The floor's sort of been made up, and anyway, it's all going to sort of be ripped out. The rock's all going to be cut out, and we're going to make a nice, neat, clean job of this. So the sort of issues that we got, a couple of issues we've got are, that's a single external skin. We haven't got any damp problems, which is good. That's been treated for damp. So we've got an external brick skin there. We've got this 9-inch pier here, which, look, doesn't go right to the ground. So it's not giving much support to this at all. In fact, I'm not going to say it's going to go anywhere, because if it was going to go anywhere, it would have gone by now. It's probably been up here 60, 70 years. We've got this ceiling binder coming through here. That'll obviously be tying into that wall. We've got this post that goes up to this purlin. As you can see here, this original purlin, look, is not actually in the brickwork. It's just on that post there. So it's been re-roofed at some point. So, you know, there's some new timber in there. Look, it's sort of been cut, sort of chopped out that end down and sort of scribed almost to that purlin. But obviously we can't take out this beam here, because then there'd be nothing to support that post, which supports that purlin. So what I'm going to do is, I've got some treated 4x2 here, and what I'm basically going to do, and excuse those wires and pipes everywhere, the spark is not coming yet. What I'm basically going to do is build a 4x2 studwork wall all the way across the inside of here. And what that'll do is it'll do a few things. What it'll do is it'll leave us a nice straight wall to fix the kitchen units to. It'll give us an opportunity to insulate the wall. It'll also give us an opportunity to put some ties back, a bit like a timber frame. It also gives an opportunity to put some ties back to this 4-inch brickwork, which will hold that, tie that in as well. And also what I'm hoping to do is put some maybe a couple of double studs up underneath this purlin here to catch that, so that we can take away this. So yeah, it looks probably a lot worse than it is, but as I say, I'll rip a few bits and bobs of this out, get a floor plate set in there. We're only going to go to that pier there. Get a floor plate set in, put some DPC under it, and then hopefully get some timbers up, and we can sort of see what we're doing as we come to it. So yeah, that's my job for this morning or today, so let's get on with it. Right, so I've cleaned away all this old timber, and oh gosh, it's like years of just bodging. Really not very good at all, but you know, I won't say any more about that. So it's all nice and clear on the floor here now, and we've got a slight little step here. I don't know what that is. Maybe just floor's been screeded up to the, I don't know what it is. They dug a hole here. I think there was a water main supposed to be coming up here. You can see the footing. So what I'm going to do now is get a measurement for a plate all the way through here, a sole plate all the way through here. Might have to pack it up a little bit so it's fairly flat. Get the DPC under it, and then, as I said, we can then see what we can do to get sort of, maybe try and get one timber up this side, and then maybe sort of one timber up this side, see what the level says for plumb. We might have to sort of go with it a little bit, but yeah, then maybe we can get a line through or something, I don't know. We'll work it out as we're doing it. So I've got my bottom plate in now, and what I've managed to do is put the level on to plumb it up. You can see, you might be able to see, this pier kicks out quite a lot. So what I've managed to do is, obviously what I need to do is, if we get that about level there, where's that, about plums I should say. So that's about plumb there, look, down to that bottom plate, and we should then, the back of the plasterboard should just miss that that brick pier there. What I'll do on the back behind there anyway is maybe use fallback plasterboard. I don't think there's any damp penetration from this wall, but I'll probably use fallback just if it's going to touch here. Obviously I don't want to touch any of this at all, so it's super dodgy. Look, the bottom part of this 9-inch pier, this sort of reinforcement pier here has been taken away. There's just a piece of timber in it, so I've notched around that rather than knocking that out. So what I've got to try and do now to get my first studding up against this wall here is, again, this is all going to be chopped out, but at the minute it's still live. The customer's trying to live here. So I've just managed to tease these pipes up, and I've got to get my timber down behind there. What I've done here is cut my my stud here. I've cut it to the length between the pipe there and right up into the apex of the roof there, and hopefully I'm going to be able to push it up and then drop it down behind that. So, oh God, it's going to be fun. I know. I think a lot of you guys maybe see me on my other jobs where it's all going really smoothly and everything's square and as it should be. Maybe some of you are going to enjoy seeing me struggle a little bit here, but I'm going to put my other camera time-lapse in the corner, but I'm not sure how much you're going to be able to see because it's quite a tight space. But anyway, let's get on with this. Right, that's horrible. I don't like it. I want to go home. There's some black, like tanking or bitumen all over that. That's the mains feed cable in now. So I've got this, like, look, black stuff all over my hands. Oh, it's horrible. The cover of the consumer board fell off on my head. But anyway, that's in now. What I've got to do here is it's just catching on this bit of timber here. So I'm just going to nip a tiny bit of that out to get that back. So that's then that's in plumb, and try and fix it. I'm not going to hold my breath for fixing into there, but once I get that one in, I said I can then put some sort of braces or fixings back on, some brackets back onto that brickwork. So yeah, it's slowly but surely, unfortunately, on a job like this. But that's one in now anyway. So I don't know whether I might just work my way this way or put one in that end, like I said. But I don't know. I don't like it. Got a couple more studs in. It's painfully slow going because there's just live water and one of those compression fittings started to leak, so I had to nip that up. There's just, they say the wiring's got to be sorted out yet, but I'm here before the Sparky. A couple of studs in there. Now, my next stud's coming in on this side, but as you can see, we've got this post here that I talked about. I've removed that now. Look, it's full of sort of woodworm and seen better days. Obviously, it's quite old, I suspect. So what I've just done temporarily, there's this sort of beam that runs across here, sort of partly in the wall. I've just cut a prop under that, which allows me to get my next stud up, which actually works out to be 1200mm from the wall there, so that'll work board centres. I can get my stud up there, and then there'll be another stud to come in line with this window reveal, and then I'll probably try and put a double stud in there and make a nice cut to catch that purling up. And then it's a simple case of a couple of studs on this side and we'll frame out for the window and then put the rest of the studs in. So yeah, it's just slow going. It's one of those things I probably could have done a half studded out a 3-bedroom house by now, but there you go. It's the nature of the beast. We've got a few studs in here. I haven't been able to put that one in because the Sparkies needs to get to move all of this consumer board electrics and everything, so that would be unfair to him to put that in. I said there's wires and stuff going everywhere. This is all got to be sorted out. So I've got a few studs in, got these two in here, got one on the end there. And what I want to do before I put any more studs in is get like a top plate up on the angle. But what I'm looking to do now is basically looking to support this purlin here. So I've got a couple of options and I think I know what I'm going to do. So I can either put a double stud under there, which basically I think is a waste of 2 studs considering I've got, these are, you know, quite heavy duty 4x2s, they're quite stout timbers. So I think what I'm going to do is basically put a fixed piece of timber in between them to support that purlin. Now what I've got here is a bit of rafter left over. This is 175mm 7x2 basically, and this gap between these two studs here is 155mm. So I'm going to rip up maybe 1 or 2 of those down to 155mm and then basically sort of fix them and screw them. I might even glue them in there as well, maybe 400, 500 long. Get plenty of fixings in there. I think that'll be more than adequate to catch up that purlin there. And it's not taking, you know, ridiculous amounts of weight. I think I can see this rafter here has actually got, if you can just see, there's a noggin fixed to it, so that'll go into the brickwork as well. So it's all helping to tie it together. But yeah, I don't think I'm going to waste another 2 studs in there, the price of timber at the minute. So I said I'll just rip a bit of this down there and cut that in there. I'll make a nice cut on the top so it has like a nice seat cut for it to sit down. But yeah, that's what I'm going to do next. And you'll also notice that the temporary prop that I put in, I've taken out. I put the original post back in because I couldn't get this next stud in. So I only had to take that original post out to get that stud in. Once that's in, I'll put the post back in. But yeah, that will eventually obviously come out. So some of you might have spotted that. Rip that bit of 7x2 down, that fits in there a treat, cut it, put a nice cut, you see, seat cut for that purlin. So really happy with that. It's going to be super strong. So I think we've got some polyurethane glue kicking about from the floor. So I think I'll polyurethane glue that and screw it as well. Potentially, if I fancy it, I could also put a stud down under there, but I don't think it's going to be necessary. I could put brackets. If I change my mind and think I want a bit more, there's so much more I can do with that. So get that done, and then I'm going to put this top plate up here, and then that knits the whole thing together so it can't obviously sort of move laterally. And then we're sort of starting to get boss of it a little bit, put a head through this window, put a sill plate through, or whatever you got, I don't know what you call that, a plate through at windowsill level, start to fill that out with studs, start to look like we've actually done something. It's been a long old morning to get these, 1, 2, 3, 4 studs fitted, so yeah. Slow progress, but it is, as I said, it's kind of par for the course on jobs like this. Oh. Am I going to get covered in it is the question. Oh, yep, I think so. Fingers out of it. Lovely. Right. Getting through on that top. That's the one. Excellent. Check that's up right. Yeah. Get a couple in there. Brilliant. Managed not to get onto my hands. Hey! Right, progress update. Let's see what we've done. I've done this support underneath this purlin here, so I'm happy about that. Progress is slow, as I've said. I've got my heads in here now, as you can see here. Look, something doesn't look right there, does it? So, one of the guys, if you can see that, one of the guys that I did my apprenticeship under said to me, "Don't ever put your work wrong to make someone else's work look right." Now you can clearly see there that that window is not gone in right. Obviously that head bit of stud there is level. So yeah, I'll see what the customer wants to do. I mean, they may want to make it run with the window. I wouldn't personally, but we can either put a fillet in there, or I can only screw it, we can refix it. So yeah, it's all looking good now. We sort of tamed it a little bit. Gonna have my lunch now, put some studs in there. I didn't put a plate across the top because actually what I'm going to do is cut it over that sort of outside existing rafter. Because what we're going to do, I think we're going to have 75mm, they're 100mm rafters, these. It's going to be 75mm insulation in between, and then there's going to be 75mm all the way across the front. So what I'm going to do is just cut those rafters, cut these studs, I should say, over that rafter until they hit the newer rafter. And then what I'll do is just put a piece of timber 75mm down, if that makes sense, and screw it all the way up, and that'll take the end of the plasterboard, but it'll be at the same height as the 75mm insulation that's going across the front. So yeah, it's looking all right. It's a bit of a, you know, it's a bit of an effort, but you know, we get this sort of nice straight plane all the way through here. Get probably a little top plate on up there or something, because there's going to be a flat ceiling all the way through there. Get all this sort of bound together, and then I can get some of these little brackets and just put a few in here and there, just to sort of help catch this gable wall up. Because again, sort of not traditionally, I should say, if this was a newer property, obviously there'd be gable straps going out onto here. It's not going to go anywhere now. It's been like it for years, as I said earlier, but we've got an opportunity to put a few extra ties in there. I think it'd be silly not to take the opportunity. So anyway, it's lunchtime now. I'm going to have a cup of tea. So I've got these few studs in above this window here, and I've got a nice straight line. As I said, what I've done is cut them round that sort of existing outside rafter. And you can just see here, if I put my level up, I've got a nice straight, I don't know if we can just see that. I've got a nice straight line that they're all just touching the level. Lovely, so that's nice and straight down there. So I think, as I explained earlier, to put that down, as I explained earlier, we'll have 75mm of insulation here, which leaves a 25mm air gap. And then what we'll do is probably measure down 75mm here, probably stick like a 2x2 on or something, or maybe a batten or something, I don't know. And then there'll be 75mm insulation to go across the face of here, up to that batten, and then we can obviously screw in the plasterboard into that. And then all I need to do there is put a few loggings in between to take the plasterboard as it comes up the wall. So yeah, really happy with how that's all looking now. It's all just much more tied in. You know, every stud I've put in and every screw and fixing I've put in has made the whole thing just seem much more sort of bound together. So like I said, put a few brackets back onto this brickwork and it should all get tied in lovely. Obviously I've taken that, don't know if I mentioned that already, taken that post out now, not going anywhere. This beam here can come out, it's not doing anything. To be brutally honest, it's, you see there, look, it's more or less loose, so nothing's going to happen when I take that out, other than it making a nice sort of open space here. Nice. It's going to be a Velux. I'll just move back here. We've got a Velux, big Velux windows going in the middle here, so this is going to be a lovely vaulted ceiling. I don't know whether they're going to encase that purlin or leave it exposed, and then we'll just put a small flat ceiling in there, so it's going to look lovely when it's done. There's going to be a kitchen in here, so kitchen units all the way around the outside, across the back, and then up this side, big cooker and stuff going here, but that's for another day. So yeah, starting to look a bit more healthy now than it did when I got here this morning. Get these bottom ones in now, and then we can start to sort of get this top tidied up. Right, so that's me done. It's not a like, ta-da, here's a finished job. I've done what I set out to do, which is basically square this wall up. This, as I said, sorry if I'm repeating myself, this stud here, I can't quite fix in. You can see I put a top plate up there. Can't quite fix it in because this board's all going to be moved. I think that we're probably talking about putting a bit of board in there, 18mm board in there, and then a new consumer unit going on there. So yeah, I'll just show you basically now, if you can see down here, you just see we've got quite a nice line where all these, better from this side, look, do you see that? We've got a nice level, straight wall to work with there now, look. You just see up there, a bit like looking at a roof, isn't it? It all come into the same plane. So, you know, we're sort of in a much better place. We can insulate all of that. The only thing that we can't insulate is this 9-inch pier here. So maybe speak to the customer if it's something that bothers them. I know they're a bit concerned about space here because it's sort of a galley kitchen. There's a potential we could put 25mm Celotex on the face of that, but let's see what the customer wants. I'm not sure how much of this job I'm here to do. I mean, I know I did the floor joist over here and I've done the roof, but I'm not sure at what point the customers kind of take over. So, but what we can do now here, and I haven't taken this beam out just because it's supporting some wires which will be dangling down otherwise. Really happy with how that's all gone up there. That's super tied in. Just got to get a few brackets, like I said, and in a few places maybe every sort of 450 or 900 or so. Get some brackets fixed to that wall just to help tile that in. I think it's been suggested, again, whether I'll do it or not, I don't know, that all of this lot's going to be stripped out and this will be lined along the back here, possibly with 4x2 again. If it was me, I'd do a similar thing to what I've done over here and put 4x2 either side there, so we get a nice upright, clean, straight wall all the way through there. Again, this wall here, I think it's going to be suggested that we got this sort of plaster issue here, so it's that horrible. Anyone who's done any jobs like this knows. I mean, I think that's been put on with what's that? That's the old bonding look, gypsum. So that's not the right stuff. So the point is trying to fix anything like that. So I think the suggestion will be that all of that gets stripped off back to brickwork, and then again, if we're worried about space, probably put 25mm batten on that, sort of lining it so it lets it breathe if there's any damp in there, and we can carry that 25mm battens all the way up, build a frame in behind it, so that'll make a nice straight clean wall as well there. I think there's some sort of, from what the customer's saying, is a big sort of stove type cooker going there with a pillar on this side and a pillar on that side, so I'm not 100% sure. And again, if I do get asked, there's this top section to frame out. I think possibly put some, don't look at the brickwork above this, it's unbelievable, isn't it, how people done jobs in the past. Look, I've obviously opened this out and someone thought that was an acceptable way to leave that jammed in there, look, but it hasn't gone anywhere for a long time, but we'll take any opportunity we can to kind of tidy all that up, put a few extra bricks in and stuff. So again, I think I'm probably going to be asked to fill out that web, and then I think what we'll do is probably come maybe 2 or 4x2 on edge up here, and to make that all nice and neat and clean, so that we can plasterboard that. So probably put a little bit of ceiling in as well. So anyway, depending on how much interest I get in this video, and depending on whether I get asked to do any more, you know, I will do another video if anyone's interested, if I get asked to come back. So if you've watched this video, thank you very much. Thank you for persevering. It's not been a tidy job, and it's not been like the jobs I normally do, but just goes to show that, you know, I am like everyone else. Sometimes you do have to do these jobs that are less than perfect, but it's a little bit interesting, I suppose. So I think, as I say, let's spin around there, way like Kylie, spinning around. So like I say at the end of all my videos, I hope you found it interesting, and thanks for watching.